at the moment, and breaking news is Bill Gates pulls out of the AI summit. Do remember that there was a lot of ifs and buts there as in regard to Bill Gates attending the AI summit or not. But now, after there was confirmation from the Bill Gates side that Bill Gates will be attending the AI summit here in the national capital, now Bill Gates last minute has pulled out of the AI summit. So this is the breaking news coming to you on NDTV in regard to the AI summit. Do remember that earlier as well, we were hearing that perhaps Bill Gates will not be attending the AI summit here. But after he arrived here, as you can see visuals playing out on your screen, Vishnu, my colleague, joining us. Vishnu, take us through the details. Will he, won't he? And now finally, he won't be attending the AI summit.
No, that's right. So it's a very, very big piece of news. My colleague Vasudha Venugopal, our colleague Vasudha Venugopal had broken the news a couple of days back that Bill Gates, who of course now leads the Gates Foundation, one of the finest minds in IT, I mean synonymous with the personal computer and with code, will not in fact be speaking over here, delivering his keynote. That's because of the very strong allegations against him linked to Epstein and the fact that his name figures. His ex-wife has spoken extensively about this as well. And so the news which initially came out is that Gates would not be speaking over here, and that was the indicator that we were given. But then there was a strong rejoinder from the Gates Foundation, where in a statement they said that no, in fact, Bill Gates will be speaking over here. He will deliver his keynote, and that any information to suggest otherwise is wrong. But just in the last couple of moments, there has been a further clarification from the Gates Foundation India, and this is their statement. After careful consideration and to ensure the focus remains on the AI Summit's key priorities, Mr. Gates will not be delivering his keynote address. The Gates Foundation will be represented by Ankur Vohra, President of Africa and India offices, who will speak later today at the summit. And the Gates Foundation remains fully committed to our work in India to advance our shared health and development goals. So the statement over here quite clear. Gates doesn't want the focus on himself at a time when he's been named in the Epstein files. He's of course issued several denials as well. But the fact that he was in touch, in communication at the very least with somebody who'd been convicted, with somebody who has very strong charges against him, after he'd actually been named and convicted, is perhaps the reason why he's been criticized internationally in the manner that he has been. He has, as I mentioned, denied a lot of the allegations which have been made, but as with so many other leading people across the world, the focus has been on Bill Gates, and therefore he has now chosen not to speak. So this was news which NDTV had broken a couple of days back. My colleague Vasudha Venugopal had indicated that Bill Gates was unlikely to speak. Now, whether there was a nudge from the government of India to Bill Gates or not, we will never know. But in a press conference shortly after we broke the news of Gates being unlikely to speak, a news which was in fact denied by the Gates Foundation, there was a statement from Ashwini Vaishnav, the IT minister, who said that it was a personal decision that needed to be taken. He didn't name Bill Gates, but he was referring to him. And now the statement, Mr. Gates was expected to speak later on this afternoon, but now will not be speaking over here. He says that the focus of the Gates Foundation needs to be India. That's what the Gates Foundation statement has been. They are very closely involved, for example, with the state of Andhra Pradesh, with telemedicine, with agriculture, several other areas. But the focus has been on Gates, which they say they don't want, and they say that the Gates Foundation will continue their important work in India. Mr. Gates will be replaced by somebody else from the Gates Foundation. So this is breaking news over here, exactly along the lines of what NDTV had reported a couple of days back, something which was denied by the Gates Foundation, but has now proven to be correct, that Bill Gates will not be speaking over here at the AI Impact Summit at the Bharat Mandapam in New Delhi.
Right, Vishnu, we also have Aditya with us, joining us in order to get us the latest on this. Well, Aditya, there was uncertainty as far as the presence of Bill Gates is concerned, and now, of course, we do know that Bill Gates will not be attending the AI summit, even though he landed in Andhra Pradesh on Monday. There were speculations that he perhaps will not be attending the AI summit after his name disappeared from the website. Initially it was there, it had appeared on the website's key attendees list until Monday, but on Tuesday the name wasn't there, confirming speculations. When of course contacted the Bill Gates Foundation, they had in fact confirmed that the media reports claiming that Bill Gates will not be attending the AI Impact Summit was incorrect. But we do know, Vishnu, that Bill Gates arrived in Andhra Pradesh. He met also with the Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu. But this sudden U-turn that we are seeing after the confirmation that came about from the Bill Gates Foundation itself.
Well, I can tell you that Bill Gates has had a very long association with the state of Andhra Pradesh and various parts of India. It was in Davos a few weeks back that he told me in an interview and announced that he'd be coming for the AI Impact Summit over here in New Delhi. But he was named as a keynote speaker as well. But then there were very strong signals perhaps that he was not, that perhaps the focus should not have been on him and should have been elsewhere at a time when he's been named in the Epstein files in a very, very big way. There's been international condemnation of his role. His ex-wife has spoken extensively about this. There are multiple allegations. The Epstein files, of course, pertain to potential or allegations of rape, allegations of pedophilia, and of trafficking. It involves, connections between Jeffrey Epstein and several leaders across the world, several leading individuals such as Bill Gates. Now, not getting into the specific charges against Gates because some of these have been denied, some of these continue to be looked at. But when asked a specific question, India's IT minister a couple of days back, when asked whether Bill Gates would be attending or not, said that, look, it's the personal decision of individuals, in this entire scenario. And I think the message over there is that, look, yes, you may have been invited, but whether you really want to attend or not, it's something you need to judge, because I think the government of India is absolutely clear. They want the focus to be on the AI summit. And in this particular scenario, Bill Gates perhaps would have had the focus on him for the reasons that I have mentioned. But in a statement today, the Gates Foundation has said that they remain committed to their work in India. That is an important statement, given that they have been very, very actively involved in funding several key development projects, whether it's in education, whether it's in agriculture or other areas. But Bill Gates will not be attending. That's the big breaking news. NDTV was right on the money with this news. My colleague Vasudha Venugopal first with it, and that's the news that stands.
Right, Vishnu, this comes about close on the heels of, the CEO of NVIDIA, who also pulled out of the summit. Now we have, of course, Bill Gates not attending, but this is, we had the opposition also really hitting out at Ashwini Vaishnaw for, meeting with Bill Gates as far as on the sidelines of the summit, questioning if, Ashwini Vaishnaw will be meeting Bill Gates. And this is all in connection with the Epstein files that the opposition was hitting out at the central government.
Well, I think a precedent has been set. The precedent has been set in terms of messaging perhaps to individuals associated one way or the other with the Epstein files. Some would suggest that if there was a message which needed to have been given by the government, it should have been more clear. If Bill Gates was not welcome, then perhaps that should have been made clear earlier on. But it's a statement now that we've sort of received from the Gates Foundation. It's actually on their Twitter page. After careful consideration and to ensure the focus remains on the AI Summit's key priorities, Mr. Gates will not be delivering his keynote address. Now that's important because it is recognition of the fact that the focus on Bill Gates had veered to the allegations in the Epstein files. That's what's really been in the news as far as Bill Gates is concerned. But Gates saying that, no, look, the work of the AI Summit is important, and therefore Bill Gates will not be addressing his keynote, which was scheduled for this afternoon. He's being replaced by somebody else in the Gates Foundation later today. He said that the Gates Foundation remains fully committed to our work in India to advance our shared health and development goals. So now that's number one. Bill Gates will not be attending, but there was another strong statement sent out in a completely different context yesterday to Galgotia University. You cannot have Chinese tech on board and claim that it's Indian. There needs to be a sense of honesty. There needs to be a sense of transparency. So, that was another message which was sent out very strongly yesterday. But I would suggest that there was a certain message sent out to Bill Gates on the basis of that statement by the IT minister, Ashwini Vaishnaw, a couple of days back, when reporters asked him at a press conference over here at the Bharat Mandapam, sir, is it correct that Bill Gates has been told not to attend or not to speak rather, in the Bharat Mandapam at the AI Impact Summit, to which he said, well, this is a decision, it's a personal decision, and it needs to be left to those individuals. You are free to write or think, or write as you deem fit. Now, that was a fairly, it was an important remark. It may have been understated, but there was no denial of the questions that reporters posed, that have you asked Bill Gates not to speak. It was sort of a statement, and I would interpret that as being a signal, and sure enough, Bill Gates isn't speaking today.
Right. Vishnu, when we talk about Bill Gates, he really hasn't been accused of any wrongdoing as far as Epstein's victims are concerned. And the appearance of his name in the files does not imply criminal activity of any kind. But this really comes about close on the heels of, his wife being questioned with his name appearing in the Epstein files. And she went on to say that it was a very sad time in her marriage, and whatever questions really remain need to be answered by those in the records, including her ex-husband.
Well, I think the key point about Bill Gates is that he was engaging with Jeffrey Epstein at a time in which Epstein had been clearly named as being part of a criminal racket which involved prostitution, which involved pedophilia, which involved trafficking. And therefore, if you are somebody in a position of power, somebody who's well known, or anybody, and you are engaging with individuals of such disrepute who are involved in something which is entirely criminal, then perhaps it's not something that can be looked away. And therefore, irrespective of whether Gates was involved in specific allegations around him, and the allegations, I should suggest, are very strong, the fact that he was engaging with Epstein, somebody who was known at that stage to be involved in these heinous crimes, is something which means that Bill Gates was in the wrong, and the reports against him, the focus on him, is perhaps justified. That said, this is an important decision that's been taking place. I just want to go back briefly to that statement made by Ashwini Vaishnav a couple of days back in a press conference when he was specifically asked whether Bill Gates had been asked not to speak here. He said, regarding who want to attend or not, it's their personal choice. I really do not want to comment on it. If you want to comment, you are free to do so. Now, this is not any statement saying that yes, Bill Gates has been invited and he will speak, or that the government of India has told Bill Gates not to speak. It was a statement carefully worded which seemed to indicate, I would suggest, that Bill Gates really needed to see whether he wanted to speak at all. And the fact of the matter is that exactly along the lines that my colleague Vasudha Venugopal reported on that day before yesterday, Bill Gates will not be speaking. So in some way, shape or form, the message did go across to Bill Gates of the Gates Foundation, and he is not speaking today.
Right, Vishnu, questions were in fact raised by Priyanka Chaturvedi, as we do know, questioning as to if he will be there, even though his name has cropped up in the Epstein files. But, after confirmations were in fact sounded off by the Bill Gates Foundation itself, that he would be, addressing the AI summit. He would, in fact, he was listed for that keynote speak. He would be the speaker, which for that 12-minute session that was going to be taking place at 11:50 this morning.
Well, that's right, but I just want to go through some of the allegations against Bill Gates. Now, Gates has admitted to meeting Epstein several times since 2011 to discuss philanthropy, a move that he has since called a huge mistake. Specific and more salacious allegations have since emerged in the Epstein files. They've gotten into investigative reporting. There are reports of extramarital affairs and extortion. In 2023, the Wall Street Journal reported that Epstein appeared to threaten or blackmail Gates over an alleged extramarital affair with Mila Antonova, a Russian bridge player. Epstein had reportedly paid her for coding school and later asked Gates to reimburse, etc., etc. There have been more recent documents which have been released by Epstein to himself, where he's sort of referred to Gates obtaining particular drugs to deal with medical conditions. We do know that Gates's relationship with his wife suffered immensely. That marriage, sort of has effectively ended. Gates himself says that some of these allegations are absolutely absurd. He says that his interactions were strictly limited to dinners regarding philanthropy, but it had an impact. His name is on the files. Some of the allegations are deemed to be serious. He wants the focus to shift away from himself to the AI summit, which is why he's stepped down now. But as we've been reporting, and as Vasudha Venugopal, has been reporting on NDTV. There was perhaps a signal sent to him and perhaps a realization by the Gates Foundation that, look, he may have been invited as a keynote speaker, but the focus really did need to stay on the AI summit. And that's something that he's recognized, the Gates Foundation has recognized, and he will not speak. This was a difficult, tough, breaking news situation at NDTV, and we were spot on with the news that Vasudha Venugopal reported.
Right, of course, major allegations that are being made in the Epstein files against Bill Gates, and Epstein seems to say that he facilitated extramarital affairs and sexual encounters for Gates. That is one of the accusations. He also appears to say that he procured antibiotics for Gates' STD that could also be administered without consent to Melinda. That is what we are reading. So, of course, Melinda Gates there saying that it was the saddest time as far as his marriage, with Bill Gates is concerned, and that she had nightmares after meeting with Epstein.
Yeah, that's right. So, I mean, the relationship between Gates and his wife did break down. We've heard his wife, his ex-wife, speak about some of the concerns that she has had. We're just trying to go through some of the details over there. So, Melinda Gates has stated that Bill's association with Epstein was a significant factor in their 2021 divorce. She has noted that she found Epstein abhorrent and evil personified after meeting him once, and expressed that Bill still has questions to answer regarding the depth of that relationship. So that's what resulted in his marriage with Melinda Gates. And remember, it was the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation which has been closely involved in India. The foundation still exists. They work and works continuously and closely in India. But the fact of the matter is that these allegations against Bill Gates have been very strong, and he wants the focus off him, he says, and back on the summit, and that's going to take place. So this is the big breaking news story today. It comes just about a couple of hours, about an hour before world leaders come in over here. The keynote address by the French President Emmanuel Macron. Prime Minister Modi will be speaking after him, but Gates, who was supposed to speak later on today, will not be speaking. His slot will be occupied by somebody else in the Gates Foundation.